Agriculture is more than planting, growing crops, or tending to your herds. Taking the necessary steps to manage your estate for future generations can give you peace of mind and lessen stress on your family. Nebraska Extension's Allan Vyhnalek stopped by the show to remind us why estate planning is so important and to talk about some upcoming seminars for those looking to take that next step.
You know, I've actually had farmers say, well, I'll be gone, what difference does it make?
Sure.
I don't have to do that. But essentially what happens in a few cases, I don't think it's a majority, I think it's a minority, the families fall apart and the families are no longer there. The farmers make some interesting assumptions that in some cases are great, and in some cases they don't work out very well. One assumption is that my kids will always want to keep the farm in the family. Another assumption is, you know, the kids have always gotten along great, and when I'm gone, I'm sure they'll continue to get along great. If you want to have something happen with your asset, then you better make the plan. Don't assume anything. That would be my reason for why we want to have an estate plan and why it's so important.
And what are some of the consequences if you don't have that proper plan in place?
So if you don't have a good plan in place, the consequences can be tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and or the land doesn't go to where you think it ought to go. I mean, the land doesn't end up doing what you want to have happen or have it do. So I think you have to give that some planning and some thought, and spending some money up front, which is going to cost you money. I mean, I'm not trying to say this is a cheap thing. It's going to be you're going to think it's relatively expensive, but spending a few thousand on a lawyer to get a good estate plan put together could be worth tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands on the other end. And believe me, I've talked to the families that have gone through that. I have talked to families that end up in a lawsuit, and who wins with the lawsuit? Not the families. Most of the time, the legal system, the lawyers win, basically. I'm not trying to make a joke there, but the families repeatedly tell me that they don't win. There's no winners if you have to go to a lawsuit. So trying to have a plan in place just avoids a whole bunch of heartache.
What are some of the biggest questions that folks ask you regarding this issue?
It depends on what generation you're in. I mean, you know, it depends on if it's my parents' generation, or if it's my generation, or if it's my kids' generation. So, you know, the biggest comment that people have coming out of our meeting is simply, man, I wish I had been at this meeting 3 or 4 years ago. So don't delay.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Biggest thing of people that are getting ready to plan or start thinking about planning is how do I deal with this so I don't have to worry about the nursing home taking my farm if I end up in a nursing home. That's kind of a biggie. You have to give that some thought, and you have to work with your tax advisor or a attorney or whoever your professionals are in your community to work on that. And so I have a hard time talking about that because two things. Number one, there's look-back period in place. I mean, if you divest yourself of your land asset or your asset, it's a 5-year look-back before you apply for Medicare. Okay, otherwise they can go back and try and get that land. Don't wait until you're 85 and say, oh my gosh, I might have to go to the nursing home. Don't do it then. You have to do it in your 40s, 50s, and even early 60s. Get it done.
And you're actually going to be having some seminars to talk about estate planning and throughout the state. What are some things that you're going to cover?
Well, we have our educational seminars pretty much all the time. Whenever I get farmers together to have an ag estate planning meeting. So on February 7th, I'll be in McCook at the fairgrounds in their community building in the afternoon. February 19th on a Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock, I'll be Curtis at NCTA. And then on March 5th, we'll be in Lancaster County all day. And that'll be a more in-depth program. I have several speakers coming to that one, and it's going to be a terrific program. People are welcome to come to any of those meetings, and if you have questions about any of that, give me a call at 472-1771. That's my office phone number.
What are some of the big topics that you're going to be covering during these seminars?
At all the seminars, I personally will be talking about the importance of having a plan and why people don't plan. We did a survey in Nebraska of Nebraska farmers in the fall of 2017. People don't plan because they don't want to think about their own death. It's hard work, mental work. It's not physical. And people don't like to plan for a variety of reasons, indicating that they're still healthy or they're healthier longer or that sort of thing. It's a very interesting thing to think about.
It's easier to put things off.
It's easier
to kick the can down the road.
Let's not think about it. Let's not think about it. Put it off because it's easier to do that. But the point would be, the importance of planning is one of the things we talk about. The other thing we talk about is good communication, good family communication. I talk about a strategy of employing a family meeting for these things to get your input from your family. And that's a tricky thing to do because some families don't meet very well. So please, please understand that, and we give some strategies so you can be successful with a family meeting. Then I usually have an estate attorney or an ag estate attorney or a financial planner or something like that with us, and for most of these meetings we do. And they talk about the basics of estate planning, the basics of getting together end-of-life documentation, your power of attorney and the durable power of attorney, your getting a living will done, some of those things. And then they'll also talk about some estate planning strategies.
If you want more information, you can visit agecon.unl.edu/succession. We've also posted a list of the upcoming seminars on our social media pages. Once again, the first meeting will be February 7th at 1 p.m. in McCook. That's in southwest Nebraska. It'll be at the Fairgrounds Community Building.